Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome. Let's make sure. All right, that's so much clapping. Thank you so much for that. Welcome to the show. Welcome to episode 205 of Make Your Day Richer. Can you believe it? I cannot. In 205 episodes, let's see how many views we've had in 205 episodes. Let's take a look at what we're at today. $333,655. We love exact numbers around here. So thank you everybody who watches this show, who supports this show, who has bought us coffee, the guests who have bought sponsorships, the businesses who have supported us. Thank you all so much. Now's a really good time to just share the show. Wherever you're watching, whatever you're doing, share the show, click that share button, and get us to 334,000 by tomorrow, would you? Thanks. It's April 1st, which means it's my brother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mikey. I love you. I don't think he watches this show, but in case someone who does watch it, who knows him, who will see him, happy birthday. It's so funny. I was talking, he's 38 today. I'll be 41 this year. And when I talk to him on the phone, whatever, like, does anybody else feel like you're not the age you are when you're talking to your siblings? Like, when I talk to Mike, I feel like he's 15, 20, and I'm, 23. Like, I feel like a kid, or maybe even younger than that. Like, it feels like you're still your little brother, even though he's going to be 40 in a couple of years. Anyway, that's what I think. Let me know if you also think like that. I watched the Tom Green documentary. Has anybody seen this? Please tell me someone else has seen. Clearly a lot of people have. I did not think I was going to cry through a documentary about Tom Green and Tom Green's life and his career, but I did. That he started out as a kid just wanting to make television. Sound familiar? And what he was able to do with his career, with his life, and the ups and downs, and that, like, he literally had overnight success. He had been doing it since he was a kid. But when he launched. And what that did to his mental state, what it did to his reality was so fascinating. And I forgot that he had testicular cancer. And as on MTV documenting your cancer journey, your cancer surgery, I thought was so profound and probably helped so many people. So many young men were watching his show, and to watch him go through something like that and be so open and on it, like, I didn't realize how great he really was at making television, and the way he loved television, the way he studied television, the way he studied talk shows. I just, like, hats off to him and the life he has created now. He's living in, he lived in LA for like 20 years, left and moved back to Canada where he's from, which is close to his parents, and lives on it's so good. You need to watch this documentary if you haven't already. And it just, like, I was crying because I thought, oh my gosh, like, that's, all I ever wanted. Like, watching like a dream. It was so interesting. Okay. Anyway, we have a great show today, so I should shut up because Emma Gabor is here. She is back. She was here. We recorded an interview a long time ago, like December of last year, maybe even November. And for whatever reason, the audio didn't work. And so it was very, very sad when I had to reach out to her and tell her that she wasted some time with me. She was so nice, though. She's coming back. She's here live. So if we have audio issues, we'll fix them now. And so you'll be able to hear her. We have a pre-recorded interview, however, that we're going to show right now. And Mark and I just kind of started talking. And so I try when I film the pre-recorded interviews to make it look like I'm introducing them now live and then just turning and talking to them. But we were kind of chatting. So you're just kind of going to get another little unedited, sort of raw interview with Mark. So there's that. So my first guest is a healthcare finance expert and entrepreneur who stumbled upon an incredible story that compelled him to become an author. Mark Jamilkowski's debut novel, The Road to Moresco, is a historical fiction novel that follows the complex, intimate, and inspiring journey of a mother and daughter in early 1900s Italy. True story. Take a look at my interview with Mark. We're here to talk about your book,
Thank you.
The Road to Moresco. Tell everybody what the book is about.
Yeah, the book follows the life of two women. It's Maria Luisa Moresco is a real person, so a lot of the book is based on true fact. It has a lot of biography and true history to it, and I used the landmarks of true history to follow this woman's life as she progressed from the moment she was a child, how she met the father of her daughter, Chiara, and then how she and her daughter Chiara survived World War II, and then the post-World War II Germany kind of environment with the occupation and by the Allied forces, and ultimately that led to Chiara, her daughter, emigrating to the United States. And it just follows those two women through the 1900s, right up until 2021.
Wow. Oh, I mean, where did this story come from? Where did you meet them?
Yeah, so there's a bit of a family connection there. I didn't actually know either of these people, and I never met Maria Luisa Moresco, but I did meet Chiara. And the connection between me and Chiara is something I talk about in the book, and it's sort of a reveal, so I don't want to go too far into it.
Yeah.
But Chiara was somebody who I found and interviewed as part of this family connection. And as I was learning more about her and kind of uncovering our joint connection and parallel lives, learning more about how she was connected to me and also more about her own history, I learned about her mother. And she would tell me stories about her mother. They just seemed so fantastic and almost unbelievable. Really discussing components of history and events that we never covered in class, right? So it led me to open up the history books and start reading about that time period, and you start thinking, like, wow, yeah, okay, so that truly did happen, and that's how it sort of evolved. And the story then became one of fascination and inspiration, just because of the nature of the stuff they had to live through, the time period and the events and the people and the larger than life personalities that existed. So yeah, it was just the whole thing became very fascinating to me.
Did you ever want to write or become an author or write a book before this?
No. I'm an actuary by training and by profession. I'm all about the numbers and healthcare, and that's kind of my career, my profession. I just found myself, as a result of having all these conversations with Kiera and taking all these copious notes, trying to keep track of all the the players and the things that were going on in all these people's lives. I just found myself with 18 pages of outline. It wasn't my editor and my publisher who saw something in the story and they said, no, this is a story that you have to write.
Well, wasn't that meeting also kind of a fate chance meeting as well?
It was, talk about if you didn't believe in the stars aligning beforehand, this is the kind of situation where you say, wow, somebody's really pushing me in this direction.
I think I'm supposed to go with this.
I think I'm supposed to write this book. Yeah. I was in Austin on a business trip, and I had some free time and I just went for a walk, and it came over the crest of the hill going down towards the
We're here to talk about your book,
Thank you.
The Road to Moresco. Tell everybody what the book is about.
Yeah, the book follows the life of two women. It's Maria Luisa Moresco is a real person, so a lot of the book is based on true fact. It has a lot of biography and true history to it, and I used the landmarks of true history to follow this woman's life as she progressed from the moment she was a child, how she met the father of her daughter, Kiara, and then how she and her daughter Kiara survived World War II, and then the post-World War II Germany kind of environment with the occupation and by the Allied forces, and ultimately that led to Kiara, her daughter, emigrating to the United States. And it just follows those two women through the 1900s, right up until 2021.
Wow. Oh, I mean, where did this story come from? Where did you meet them?
Yeah, so there's a bit of a family connection there. I didn't actually know either of these people, and I never met Maria Luisa Moresco, but I did meet Kiara. And the connection between me and Kiara is something I talk about in the book, and it's sort of a reveal. So I don't want to go too far into it.
Yeah.
But Kiara was somebody who I found and interviewed as part of this family connection. And as I was learning more about her and kind of uncovering our joint connection and parallel lives, learning more about how she was connected to me and also more about her own history, I learned about her mother. And she would tell me stories about her mother. They just seemed so fantastic and almost unbelievable. Really discussing components of history and events that we never covered in class, right? So it led me to open up the history books and start reading about that time period, and you start thinking, like, wow, yeah, okay, so that truly did happen, and that's how it sort of evolved. And the story then became one of fascination and inspiration, just because of the nature of the stuff they had to live through, the time period, and the events and the people and the larger than life personalities that existed. So yeah, it was just the whole thing became very fascinating to me.
Did you ever want to write or become an author or write a book before this?
No. I'm an actuary by training and by profession. I'm all about the numbers and healthcare, and that's kind of my career, my profession. I just found myself, as a result of having all these conversations with Kiara and taking all these copious notes, trying to keep track of all the the players and the things that were going on in all these people's lives. I just found myself with 18 pages of outline. It wasn't my editor and my publisher who saw something in the story and they said, no, this is a story that you have to write.
Well, wasn't that meeting also kind of a fate chance meeting as well?
It was, talk about if you didn't believe in the stars aligning beforehand, this is the kind of situation where you say, wow, somebody's really pushing me in this direction.
I think I'm supposed to go with this.
I think I'm supposed to write this book. Yeah. I was in Austin on a business trip, and I had some free time, and I just went for a walk, and it came over the crest of the hill going down towards the state capitol building. I saw a bunch of white tents, and I figured, oh, farmer's market, great. I'll go get some baked goods or something for the hotel room that I can munch on later or whatever. Book fair. Yeah. And I walk into this tent and I have no idea what I'm getting into, right? This first tent I walk into, I say, oh, what's going on? And I see all the books, right? And I have no idea. Maybe it's like I didn't even take a good look. I didn't. I did not even look around to see that these were new books. I thought maybe this was used bookstore or some sort of, whatever. I didn't know. woman explained it to me, and she asked me some questions, and she said, and I said, wow, that's really fascinating, because I have this project I've been writing on the side, and I've got about 120 some odd pages. And she said, oh, you have a manuscript? I'm like, yeah, that's what I
Of
have.
course, yes.
I have a manuscript. I had no idea. Clueless. Babe in the woods, man. Babe in the freaking woods. I had no idea. And she walked me through the process, and she thought that the book had merit, but it was a story that I needed to tell myself. So she helped me understand what it took to edit what I had. And, I had, like I said, 120 some odd pages and no dialogue. It was just like, here is the story in a narrative. This happened, and 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 that was it. And she said,
a manuscript.
Evidently,
what you had,
yeah. And then so she helped me understand what it took to create dialogue and to break components of the story apart, to dig into it deeper. And 310 pages later, here we are.
Did you love the process once you got into it and understood it more?
I did. I kind of got bitten by a bug, and now I'm writing my second one.
What do you think you're going to do differently next time, if anything?
Well, I write because I enjoy it. This scratches a creative itch for me, and I enjoy telling the stories. But I am wiser and smarter now this second time around. And because the first one was more a work of passion, the road to Moresco is very vulnerable for me, because I'm so close to it, and it's almost autobiographical, and there's so much of me baked into that book. Being that vulnerable, even now when I think about it, kind of makes me nervous, right? So the resistance to being that vulnerable, not that I'm over it, but I'm feeling more comfortable with that idea. I actually wrote Road to Moresco one way. I rewrote it, and the third time I went through it, and I tacked on the last chapter. The last chapter came to me in a dream. I've been thinking about it so much, right? It took over my mind, even when I was asleep. So it came to me, and I wrote that last chapter because the last chapter ties it right back to the very beginning. So when you reach that last chapter, there's things mentioned in that last chapter that make you say, now I know why I was reading about what I was reading about in chapter 1. It really kind of brings it. And I was like, okay, done. Signed, sealed, delivered.
Get it out of here. Yeah. Who would you say the book is for? Like, who should be reading it?
I've had women tell me that it is a very empowering book. So it's very women forward. And because it does center on two very strong-willed and very powerful women in their own right. And all decisions they made, good, bad, or indifferent, right? It is a clear-cut character profile of these two women. And people have commented, it's like, your main characters are not easy to like. I didn't write them to be easy to like. I wrote them to be like who they were.
Yeah.
And they were formed to be who they were by virtue of the circumstances under which they grew up, and the environment and the history they lived through, as well as their relationships with each other and with other people they had in their lives.
What do you love most about your life right now?
Oh, I'm very fortunate and grateful for what I'm able to do. I mean, even just conversation, right? Having the opportunity to share the story with you, with your audience. I'm incredibly grateful and touched by this opportunity. I have to say that I'm incredibly fortunate and grateful to have good health, and I have this opportunity to have great conversations with folks like you and your audience. My son is doing well. He's off and running, and he got his own life started, and there's just it's a good point in life.
Well, I hope you come back when the next book comes out, whenever you decide to finish it, whenever you decide to press publish. I hope you come back.
I am 60,000 words into it, so I'm thinking that it's I got to figure out a way to get through the next 30,000 or so and wrap it up into a bow where I can start the editorial process at least for the first couple passes, and then
I'll be
so
here.
put me on your calendar.
I'll be here. The Road to Moresco is the book. Mark, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for this opportunity. Have a great 2025.
Thanks. You too. We'll be right back right after this. Don't go away. Life is difficult. Are you feeling overwhelmed or like you could use a little support for your mental well-being? Visit the Help Hub. It's the most comprehensive and inclusive free online destination for mental health resources, helpful tools, crisis hotlines, and supportive content. Just go to thehelphub.co to find the resources you need when you need them most. Unlike other resource pages, the Help Hub is divided into 16 different categories, ensuring that everyone in every community has access to the resources and support that matches their unique needs. Find the help you're looking for at thehelphub.co. Oh, welcome back, everyone. My next guest is a bright and ambitious young scholar with a passion for history and a knack for bringing people together. Emma Gabor, a recent master's graduate and early modern historian, is the founder of a digital platform that is a hub for cultural and intellectual exchange. I don't even know if I know all of those words. She's also the lead coordinator of the Arts and Cultural Management Conference in Vienna, of course. And why wouldn't you be? So please welcome Emma Gabor. Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me again.
Yay, your audio works and my audio works. I love it. Thank you. So, first of all, thank you for coming on the first time, replying and not being angry with me, and coming back here to do a live episode.
Of course, I mean, technology is gonna do what it does. And it's quite timely, actually, my coming back. I know last time we spoke a lot about, my experience with the nonprofit, and actually since then I've decided to leave the nonprofit. So I think we've got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, the old interview would have been out of date anyway and wouldn't have been relevant anymore. So now we get an updated version from you.
Perfect. Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about that? We were talking before we started the show today. It's been a little over a year since I left a nonprofit that it completely changed my life, but it was a decision that I had to make for myself, for mental, like everything. Can we talk about maybe what prompted this change in your life? Because you've been there for what, 5 years?
5 years it's been. So I started the nonprofit, the Salon de la Sagesse, by the way. So it translates to the Salon of Wisdom, and it was inspired by sort of these 18th century literary salons that would take place in France. I started it when I was doing my BA, my last year of BA, and it was COVID, and I was alone at home, and I felt lonely, and I was like, let's do this. And I never ever in my wildest dreams would have thought that it was going to develop into what it is today. We've got the parent organization now, we've got 2 daughter organizations, so it's a huge community that spreads across Europe. And really, it's been a wonderful adventure. It's been incredible. I've grown into the person I am today. I learned so much, but I feel like my journey is done here. I think it's one of those things where I feel like I contributed everything I had. I gave everything I had to this community: heart, soul, sweat, tears, and blood. Everything.
Sleepless nights, probably. Yes, everything. Yeah.
So much. And it's time for me to step back. I think it's also a matter of sort of growing up and not having that same fire in me anymore. And it's not, it's not a bad thing. I just don't have that same vision anymore, that same drive. And that's okay, because I can give it over to the next generation.
Yeah.
To someone who possibly has an even better vision than I did. So that's what's happening right now. And yeah, it'll be done within the next few weeks. So it's happening really soon.
I love that for you so much. I just want to congratulate you. I wish you were here so I could hug you. It's such. What's your official title right now at the salon?
Right. So I'm president of the Salon.
Okay.
I'm also one of the founding members. So we've got
Yeah.
around 4 to 5 founding members. And yes, yeah, I'm president. So there's like an executive board. It's the highest possible position. So I'll be transitioning into emeritus president.
How, from a, I don't know, from my experience in the nonprofit world, sometimes when you are doing something that is helping so many people and changing so many, and you are the one who, you're responsible for it even existing. Sometimes there's ego involved in that, and you're wanting to cling to titles, and it's my baby, and no one can do it as good as. Can you talk about that? Did you suffer from that at all, or were you like, get me out of here?
I completely resonate with that. It's so hard. I think the
Yeah.
baby part I really, really relate to, because for me it was like, it's the first thing of my own that I truly created. And it's like my first child. So I did have that, okay, I have this specific vision of this person in my mind that I want to take it over, which is not at all what happened. But I found someone incredible and brilliant. But that's definitely there. In terms of ego, I think for a long time I was more like, don't put me in the foreground. I don't like it. I like to work behind the scenes. I like to be behind the scenes. But for instance, this, podcast interviews, all this stuff, I was just kind of like, no, thank you. And now, actually, over the past year, while this decision was forming, I realized, you know what? I deserve this. Like, I worked so hard for this. I put so much into this. I deserve to have that pat on the back and be like, well done. So
Yeah.
I'm not shying back of like, writing in because we are, we're doing all the legal work, all the paperwork. I'm not shying away from writing in there. If there's an important event, I want to be invited and as an honorary guest, all this stuff, I think that's a given.
I love that it's still continuing as well, and that you're excited about the future of it. Can you tell everybody what it actually is? Now it's still out there and still getting involved. So fill everybody in.
So the Salon of Wisdom is essentially, as you said, an online sort of intellectual hub where we talk about literally anything and everything that matters to my generation, but also anyone else. So from science to arts to the world right now, we're discussing the topics that matter most. And we do that online, but also at this point, we've got in-person hubs, primarily in Vienna and London. So we do have events there. So that's the mother organization. And then we've got 2 daughter organizations. One of them, actually, I don't think we spoke since, or maybe we just spoke just at that time. We closed it down. It was an online quarterly publication called the Journal d'Ambroisie. And we had about 8 categories where our writers could write in, from science to social commentary to the arts to interviews. And it was incredible. It was a really good project. It ran for about 2.5 years. And our motto was casual meets academic. But we felt that we kind of maxed that out. And so we closed it down. And instead, now we're actually building a new one called Nexus Key, Journal of Research and Scholarship. So that is really sort of us graduating from this more of a casual online publication to really serious, getting students published, young professionals, PhD students, academics. So that's our second project. And our third, our second daughter organization is the ACMC, as you said, the Arts and Cultural Management Conference. And that takes place once a year in Vienna, in Austria. It's a 3-day event. But beyond that, we also have online events throughout the year. So panel discussions, workshops, all sorts. And it's open for everyone.
What's your advice for people who maybe are in the position that you are in, who are struggling with the idea of stepping away from something that they hold so close to their hearts?
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
To be perfectly honest with you, I did have trouble letting go in the past. I'm one of those people who's like, I'm going to do it till the end. Like, we're going to make this happen. We're going to do it. It's going to be super successful. But I think sometimes it's just not the right thing. And it was the same with this project. I just I felt something was off, but I couldn't pinpoint it. Because again, I'm not someone who's just going to like up and leave a project or a person or anything. I really have to be pushed there. Like something real has to happen. And so it was actually after our last conference here in Vienna, after last year's ACMC in November, I felt something. And I remember one random day, it just sort of clicked. I was like, oh my God, that's it. It's time. It's time for me to leave. It kept building up, frustrations, anxieties, certain things that I just thought, these don't align with me anymore. And one day it just clicked. And it was at first it was really hard. But I think going through those stages of grief and going through that grief is really important. So my advice would be, if you have the slightest inkling of, this is truly time, and it doesn't come from a place of, it's too hard.
You just had a bad day. Yeah.
Yeah, because that happens too. It really comes from a place of, okay, I gave it my all. I'm really looking forward to my next chapter. I feel like on a heart level, this is over. Then do it, and do it immediately. Don't drag it out, because I made that decision in November. Now we're in April, and I have to say it hasn't been an easy process, because you're trying to do everything correctly, legally, also morally. You want to leave it in the right place, but within that time, making that decision, you're sort of already looking forward to the next chapter. So
just rip the Band-Aid off.
I just want to wrap it up, and
So what's next? Do you have
I have some ideas. I'm writing a book.
Sleep a little bit, maybe rest.
Some rest, yes. But I'm actually writing a book, so it was very timely of you as well to bring that book on today. So that's what I'm doing. It's I'm basically putting my scholarly research together within a novel. So yeah, it's going to be on witchcraft, witches, and witchcraft practices. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Do we have are you just writing it now? Are you starting to write it? Okay.
I'm in the thick of it. So I have about 50,000 words. So we've got a couple more weeks to go until I can say, we've got a proper first draft. But yeah, I think that's my transition. And then after that, we'll see. My degree is in, art history, cultural heritage, cultural management. So I'm really dedicated to that field. And I would love to continue my work there. But yeah, we'll see what life throws at me.
What did you want to be when you were a kid, when you grew up? I'm assuming.
That's a great question. I think so many things. I don't know. Don't kids always want to be like singers and actors?
Yes. Well, because you're obviously very creative, right? So you probably wanted to do it all.
I remember wanting to be an interior designer for the longest time. And I love interior design, and I still read those journals and magazines to this day. But I think that's over now.
On to the next. Yeah, I love that. I love it. What do you love most about your life right now? I mean, it feels like you're probably about to start an entire new life. So what are you most excited about? What do you love most?
I think that freedom. I think it can be hard as well. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Some days you're just like, oh my God, I don't know what's next. Is this the stupidest decision I've ever made? But it's mostly just that freedom and that fun of looking forward to something so exciting and new and unknown.
Oh my gosh. After this is over, I'll tell you how, this is, I think, the craziest part about the world is how this conversation today with you is so important in my life right now. But that's a different story.
Love it.
Yes. What is the best way that people can connect with you and keep track of you and what you're up to?
Yeah, so find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere. I also have a website that I should probably update, but I have it. So yeah, that's the one. Yes. So yeah, just reach out to me. I'm happy to chat.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for coming on twice and having one successful turn. Congratulations on everything, truly, and I'm so excited to follow you and have you back when the book comes out.
Thank you so much, Richard, for having me again. And I'm excited to be back.
Yes, enjoy your day. Thanks for being here.
Bye.
That's it, everybody. That's our show. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Go make your day richer. Go make somebody else's day richer. You've made mine by watching this show, and I love you for it. We'll be back with an all new episode tomorrow, so don't miss it. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.